It was a hot afternoon. The sun was high and the city was noisy. People rushed past each other, busy with their own lives. But Ryan sat alone on a bench outside a tall office building. His shirt was wet with sweat, and his shoes had holes in them. His hands held a worn-out file with papers that were now folded at the corners. He had just come out of his 10th interview in 2 weeks. Once again, the answer was the same. "Sorry, you are not the right fit." Ryan looked at the ground. His stomach growled. He had not eaten since morning. He didn't even have money for a simple cup of tea. He had walked 5 kilometers to reach the office. Now he had to walk all the way back. His phone rang. It was his mother. He answered quickly, putting on a fake smile. "Hello, Amma. Yes, the interview went well. I think they liked me. They said they'll call soon." His mother sounded happy. "I'm proud of you, Beta. Don't lose hope. One day you'll make it." Ryan said goodbye, hung up, and stared at his phone screen. There was no call coming. There never was. He felt broken, tired, hopeless. "I try so hard," he whispered. "Why is nothing working?" Just then he heard a sound, a soft cry of pain. He looked up and saw an old man trying to cross the road. The man's foot slipped on the pavement. He fell, dropping his walking stick. Cars honked, people shouted, but no one helped. Without thinking, Ryan jumped up. He ran across the street, dodging cars. He reached the old man and gently helped him stand up. "Are you okay, sir?" Ryan asked. The old man nodded slowly, holding Ryan's arm for support. "Thank you, young man. People just passed by. But you stopped." Ryan smiled weakly. "Anyone would have helped?" The man looked at him closely. "No, not anyone. Only someone who still has a good heart." They slowly walked to a bench nearby. Ryan helped the man sit down. "What's your name, son?" the man asked. "Ryan." "And why do you look so tired, Ryan?" Ryan gave a small laugh. "Because I'm tired of failing." The old man said nothing for a moment. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small card. "This is my address. Come visit me tomorrow at 9 a.m. I want to show you something." Ryan looked confused. "Why?" The old man gave a soft smile. "Because you remind me of myself, and I learned a secret that changed my life." Ryan was silent. The old man stood up slowly, using Ryan's arm for balance. "Success doesn't come from luck, Ryan. It comes from something else. Something most people never learn." He walked away slowly, leaving Ryan holding the card. Ryan looked at it. The address was written clearly. No name, just a place. He turned the card over. On the back, a sentence was written in neat handwriting. "You don't need luck. You need to shift your attitude." Ryan sat back down on the bench. The city moved around him. Cars, people, noise, but inside him something had gone quiet. He read the sentence again, then again. He looked at the office building one last time and whispered, "Maybe this isn't the end." He stood up, placed the card safely inside his file, and began walking home. There was still no job, still no money. But now, there was something else, a feeling, a small, strange feeling that maybe, just maybe, something was about to change. The next morning, Ryan woke up early. He hadn't slept well. His thoughts were filled with the old man he had helped yesterday. The card with the strange message still sat on his table. "You don't need luck. You need to shift your attitude." He read the sentence again. Part of him wanted to throw the card away. Maybe it was just nonsense. But another part of him, tired, broken and desperate, wanted to believe that maybe, just maybe, this stranger had something different to offer. Ryan left home quietly. His mother was still asleep. He had no money for a rickshaw, so he walked. The sun was just rising when he reached the address on the card. It was a small old house in a quiet part of the city. The gate was open. Flowers grew along the path, and wind chimes made soft sounds in the breeze. It felt peaceful. Ryan knocked on the door. After a moment, the old man opened it. He looked surprised but pleased. "You came," he said. "I said I would," Ryan replied. The old man smiled. "Most people don't." "Come in." Ryan stepped inside. The house smelled like old books and tea. The walls were filled with photos, black and white pictures of the old man with other people, smiling, working, traveling. In one photo, he stood beside a car with a sign, Adil & Co., 1984's top business team. Ryan looked at the photo. "You were rich." "I was," Mr. Adil said. "Then I lost everything." Ryan turned to him, surprised. "What happened?" "I made one mistake," Adil said calmly. "I thought success came from luck, timing, money, or connections. But life taught me a harder truth." He walked into the next room. Ryan followed. The room was filled with old files, books, and a single wooden box on a table. It had a lock but no key. Adil pointed to it. "This box changed my life." Ryan frowned. "What's in it?" "I'll tell you, but not today," Adil said. "You're not ready yet?" Ryan felt annoyed. "Then why call me here?" Adil looked at him seriously. "Because you helped me when no one else did. You showed kindness when you had nothing. That's rare, Ryan. But kindness is not enough. To succeed, you need strength. Not in your body, in your mind." Ryan sat down. "I've tried everything. I work hard. I don't give up. Still nothing works." Adil poured 2 cups of tea. He handed one to Ryan. "Let me ask you one question. When someone says no to you, what do you think?" Ryan shrugged. "That I failed. That I'm not good enough." "That's your problem," Adil said. "Failure is not the end. It's a message. It's life saying, try again, but smarter." Ryan sipped the tea. It was warm and calming. Adil leaned forward. "I will give you one task. For the next 7 days, I want you to write one thing you learn from every failure. One small lesson. Not what you lost, but what you gained." Ryan looked unsure. "And what will that do?" "It will change how you think. Right now, your mind sees failure as defeat, but soon, it will see failure as direction." Ryan was quiet. He didn't know what to say, but deep inside, he felt something move, like a locked door opening just a little. "Okay," he said. "I'll try." Adil smiled. "That's all I ask." As Ryan stood up to leave, Adil placed a notebook in his hand. It was old but clean, with a leather cover. On the first page, a sentence was written in big letters. "Every fall is a step forward, if you learn from it." Ryan looked at the words and nodded. "Come back after 7 days," Adil said. "And bring the notebook." Ryan stepped outside. The sun was brighter now. The air felt different, lighter. He didn't know what was in the locked box. He didn't know why this old man believed in him. But he did know one thing. For the first time in a long time, he had a reason to try again. Not to chase luck, but to change himself. The next morning, Ryan woke up earlier than usual. For the first time in weeks, he didn't feel heavy inside. His mind was still full of doubts, but something had changed. He looked at the notebook Mr. Adil gave him. He touched the cover and whispered, "Let's see if this really works." He washed his face, combed his hair, and wore his cleanest shirt. It had a missing button, but he did his best to fix it. He didn't want to look perfect. He just wanted to look like someone who still cared. As he walked down the street, he saw people the way he never noticed before. The tired fruit seller who smiled at every customer. The little boy helping his father carry bricks. The old lady selling flowers in the corner, her hands shaking but her voice strong. They're all trying, he thought, and they're still standing. So can I. He reached the office of a small company he had applied to earlier. This time, he didn't just wait quietly, he stood tall. When his name was called, he walked in with a smile, even though his hands were cold with fear. The interviewer looked at his file. You've been to many interviews but no job yet. Why should we hire you? Ryan took a deep breath. I used to think rejection meant I wasn't good enough, he said honestly. But now I understand every no taught me something. I've learned how to talk better, dress better, think better. I'm not perfect, but I'm improving. That's why you should hire me. The man raised his eyebrows, surprised. He looked at Ryan for a long moment. Then he said, "We'll let you know." Ryan walked out. He didn't know if he got the job. But this time, he didn't feel like a failure. He walked to a quiet park, sat on a bench, and took out the notebook. On the first page, he wrote, Lesson 1. Every interview is a free classroom. He smiled to himself. Maybe Adil was right. The next few days were not easy. Ryan still faced rejection. One company said he wasn't experienced. Another said they had too many applicants. But each time he stayed calm. Each time he wrote in his notebook. Lesson 2. Ask questions. Learn why you failed. Lesson 3. Smile even when it hurts. It shows strength. Lesson 4. Everyone is busy fighting their own battles. Be kind. One evening, Ryan was walking home when he saw a tea stall. The man selling tea looked tired. Ryan smiled and helped him lift a heavy container. "Thank you, bye," the tea seller said. "People usually walk past like I'm invisible." Ryan nodded. "I've been invisible too." The tea seller gave him a cup of tea for free. Kindness always comes back. Ryan sat on the side of the road sipping the tea, writing in his notebook again. Lesson 5. Kindness costs nothing, but it changes everything. That night, when Ryan opened his notebook to add another lesson, he noticed something strange. There was a new line on the page he didn't write. It said, "You're almost ready." His hands froze. His heart beat faster. Did Adil write this? When? But he had kept the notebook with him all day. It was Sunday morning. The city was quiet. Ryan sat near his window, holding the notebook close to his chest. Outside, the sky was cloudy. Inside, his heart was calm. But only on the surface. Deep down, old thoughts still whispered. "You're not enough. You always fail. Why even try?" He tried to ignore the voice, but it had lived inside him for too long. He stood up and walked to the mirror in the corner of the room. It was small, cracked at the edge. He looked into it. He saw a young man with tired eyes and a hopeful heart. But then, without warning, the voice came back, louder this time. "Look at you. No job, no money, no success. Just a dreamer." Ryan stared at his own reflection. His hands shook. Then something inside him snapped. He picked up a small stone from the floor and threw it at the mirror. Crack! The glass shattered. Pieces fell to the ground. His reflection broke into sharp, jagged pieces. His chest rose and fell quickly. He dropped to his knees and covered his face. "Why am I like this?" he thought. "Why does it hurt so much to try?" Then, he remembered Mr. Adil's words. "You still don't believe you deserve success. Until you do, nothing outside you can change." He looked at the broken mirror again. Each piece showed a different part of his face, eyes, lips, nose, but none showed him whole. Maybe that's the problem, he thought. I only see parts of myself, only the broken ones. He slowly picked up a piece of glass. Carefully, he looked into it. One of his eyes stared back, and in that moment he saw something he had never noticed before, a quiet fire, not big, but alive. He stood up and started picking up the other pieces, one by one, gently. Then he took a deep breath, opened his notebook, and wrote Lesson 6. Sometimes you must break before you build. He cleaned up the mirror pieces and placed them in a box. Then he left the house. He walked straight to Mr. Adil's home. The old man was in the garden again, trimming leaves. Ryan walked up and showed him the box. "I broke my mirror." Adil didn't look shocked. "And what did you see before it?" "Broke?" "Myself, but only the parts I didn't like." "And what did you see after it broke?" "Pieces of truth," Ryan said softly, "but also a little fire." Adil nodded like he had been waiting for this answer. "Good," he said. "Then now you are ready." Ryan looked confused. "Ready for what?" Adil walked inside and returned with the locked wooden box. He placed it on the table. "You've earned the key," he said. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small silver key. Ryan's heart beat faster. Adil placed the key in Ryan's hand. "This box is not about money or magic. What's inside is more powerful." Ryan slowly turned the key. The lock clicked open. He lifted the lid and gasped. Inside there were dozens of handwritten notes. Some were old and yellow. Others were fresh. Each note had one line, one truth, one lesson. "I am not my past. Pain is a teacher. Courage is doing it afraid. Success is a slow sunrise, not a lightning strike. Be patient with your growth. What you plant today blooms later." Ryan's eyes filled with tears. "These, you wrote them?" he asked. Adil smiled. "Every time I failed, every time I was told no, every time I wanted to give up, I wrote one truth, one lesson. And slowly, I built myself again." Ryan was silent. "You gave me this notebook," he whispered. "But you also gave me something bigger." "What's that?" Adil asked. "Belief," Ryan said. "In me, when I had none." The old man smiled warmly. "That's the real key, Ryan. It was never the box. It was always you." Ryan sat beside him, both of them quiet, surrounded by the smell of flowers and old paper. He took one of the notes from the box and added it to his own notebook. Lesson 7. You are the key, not luck, not money, you. For the first time, Ryan felt light. Not because all his problems were gone, but because he had changed the way he saw them. The broken mirror didn't show a broken man anymore. It showed a warrior in progress, a learner, survivor. A dreamer who had learned to fight back, not with anger, but with belief. After reading all the notes inside the wooden box, Ryan felt like a new person. He wasn't rich yet. He didn't have a job, but his heart was different now. He walked home slowly, thinking about everything he had learned. The sky was turning orange and the wind was cool. As he walked, he felt peaceful, like the world had slowed down just for him. At home, he opened his notebook and wrote, Lesson 8. The storm outside means nothing if there is peace inside. That night, something surprising happened. Ryan's phone rang. It was a number he didn't know. He almost didn't answer, but then he remembered Mr. Adil's words. "Courage is doing it afraid." "Hello?" Ryan said, unsure. "Is this Ryan?" "Ali?" a serious voice asked. "Yes, it is. I'm calling from Vision Tech. You came for an interview last week." Ryan sat up straight. "Yes, sir," he said quickly. "I remember." "We reviewed your file," the man said. "You didn't have much experience, but your attitude stood out. We'd like to offer you a position. It's entry-level, but there's room to grow. Are you interested?" Ryan's eyes widened. For a moment, he couldn't speak. His chest felt tight. Then he stood up, almost shaking. "Yes. Yes, sir. I am interested. Thank you so much." "Great," the man replied. "Come to the office Monday at 9 a.m. After the call ended, Ryan just stood there, staring at the wall. A job, a real job. He slowly sat down, his heart full. Not because he finally got what he wanted, but because it happened after he had changed how he thought. He picked up the notebook again and wrote, Lesson 9. Doors don't open by luck. They open when you are ready to walk through them. Monday. Morning arrived. Ryan wore his best shirt. He polished his shoes 3 times. His mother smiled at him with pride as he left the house. At Vision Tech, he met the team. They were kind and helpful. The office was small but full of energy. Ryan listened, learned, and worked harder than anyone else. He stayed late. He asked questions. He helped others without being asked. By the end of the week, his manager called him in. "Ryan," he said, "you're doing very well. You don't have the most knowledge, but you do have the right attitude." Ryan smiled. "Thank you, sir." The manager nodded. "I see potential in you. Keep going." Ryan walked out of the office feeling proud but also humble. He had so much more to learn. That evening, he visited Mr. Adil. The old man was sitting in the garden as usual. Ryan sat beside him and smiled. "I got the job." Adil didn't look surprised. "Of course you did," Ryan laughed. "How did you know?" "Because your thinking changed, and when that happens, the world can't ignore you anymore." Ryan looked down. "I was so close to giving up, you know." "I know," Adil said. "We all come to that edge, but not everyone chooses to step forward." Ryan was quiet for a moment, then asked, "Why did you help me?" Adil looked up at the sky. "Because once, someone helped me the same way. And now it was your turn. Soon, it will be your turn to help someone else." Ryan nodded slowly. "I'll be ready." Adil smiled. "Good. Then I have one final gift for you." He handed Ryan a small envelope. Ryan opened it. Inside was a note with 5 simple words. "Never stop writing your lessons." Ryan looked at the words, then at the old man. "You want me to keep the notebook forever?" "Yes," Adil said. "Because life never stops teaching, and you should never stop learning." Ryan held the envelope close. "Thank you for everything." Adil patted his shoulder. "This is just the beginning." That night, Ryan sat by his window again, looking at the stars. He didn't feel poor. He didn't feel broken. He felt powerful. Not because the world had changed, but because he had changed the way he saw the world. He opened his notebook and wrote, Lesson 10, True. Success is not what you get. It's who you become. The next morning, he got up early again, this time not because he had to, but because he wanted to. He was becoming the person he had always dreamed of being, and he knew, deep in his heart, this was just the start of something beautiful. 2 months passed. Ryan was doing well at his new job. He came early, stayed late, and always gave his best. His notebook was almost full of lessons. He had learned so much, and everyone in the office liked him. But one morning, something unexpected happened. His manager called him into the office. There was a serious look on his face. "Ryan," he said slowly, "we have a problem." Ryan felt cold inside. "What kind of problem, sir?" he asked, trying to stay calm. "The company is cutting costs. A few new employees will be let go." "I'm sorry, but you are one of them." Ryan froze. "What? But I'm working hard. I'm learning fast. Please." His manager sighed. "I know. You've been excellent. But this decision isn't personal. It's business." The words hit Ryan like a storm. He left the office without saying much. As he walked out of the building, the world felt heavy again. The voice returned. The same voice he thought he had buried. Deep inside. "See? You failed again. You're just not lucky. You'll never make it." Ryan walked slowly through the streets. The sky looked darker now. The noise of the city felt louder. His feet dragged. His shoulders dropped. All the progress he had made suddenly felt useless. By the time he reached home, his eyes were red. He didn't eat. He didn't talk. He just sat in silence, staring at the notebook. What's the point of writing more lessons? He thought, if life keeps pushing me down. That night, he didn't sleep. He kept hearing the voice of doubt again and again. The next morning, Ryan went to see Mr. Adil. But this time, He wasn't calm. He was angry, lost. Adil was sitting in the garden like always. He saw Ryan's face and said nothing at first. Ryan sat down hard and said, "I lost the job." "I know," Adil replied gently. "You knew?" Ryan asked, confused. "I didn't know it would happen today," Adil said. "But I knew something like this would come. It always does." "Then why did I even try?" Ryan snapped. "Why? Did you fill me with hope? Why teach me lessons only for everything to break again?" Adil stayed quiet for a few moments. Then he said something simple. "Because success is not a straight road, Ryan." Ryan didn't respond. Adil continued. "You thought you were done, but you're not. The first real test is not getting a job. It's what you do when you lose it." Ryan looked down. "I'm tired." "I know," Adil said softly. "That voice inside you, it's back, isn't it?" Ryan nodded. "I hear it too," Adil admitted. "Even now. After all these years." Ryan looked up, surprised. "You?" "Yes. That voice never fully leaves. But the difference is, I don't listen to it anymore." Ryan stared at him. "How?" Adil pointed to Ryan's notebook. "You already know how. Open it." Ryan opened the notebook slowly. Page after page, his own handwriting stared back at him. "Pain is a teacher. Courage is doing it afraid. You are the key." Tears came to his eyes. These were his own words, lessons he had earned through pain, effort, and heart. He wiped his eyes and whispered, "I forgot who I was." Adil nodded. "Doubt wants you to forget, but your lessons help you remember." Ryan sat quietly for a long time. Then, with slow hands, he wrote again. Lesson 11. The voice of doubt is loudest before the next level begins. Adil smiled. "That's a powerful lesson." Ryan closed the notebook. "I think I need to take a step back. Rest a little. Find my center again." "Good idea," Adil said. "But don't hide. Resting is not running." "I understand," Ryan replied. That night, Ryan did something he hadn't done in months. He cooked dinner with his mother. They laughed as he burned the bread, and she scolded him with love in her voice. Later, he took a walk under the stars. He didn't feel lost anymore. Not fully. The voice of doubt was still there, but weaker now, fainter, and in its place, another voice was rising, a stronger one, a voice that said, "You've come too far to turn back. This is not the end. Rest, then rise." As he looked at the moon above, he whispered, "I'm not done yet." Then he smiled to himself and went back home, not as a failure, but as a fighter who had just taken a small fall on a long, beautiful journey. A week had passed since Ryan lost his job. He had spent the days reading his old notebook, walking in the park, and thinking deeply. Slowly, the voice of doubt had faded again. He wasn't fully healed, but he was healing. One evening, Ryan sat in a small cafe near the edge of the city. He didn't go there often. It was quiet and calm, with soft music playing in the background. He ordered tea and sat by the window, watching people walk by. Then he heard a soft voice from the next table. "Is that the Life Lessons notebook?" a young woman asked, pointing at the book in Ryan's hands. Ryan looked up, surprised. "Yes," he said. "I write something in it every time I learn from a mistake." The woman gave a small smile. "I used to have a notebook like that, too." There was silence for a moment. She looked down at her coffee. "I stopped writing in mine a long time ago," Ryan asked gently. "Why?" She looked out the window. "Because I gave up. I thought I had lost everything. My dream, my job, my confidence. All gone. And when I looked in the mirror, I didn't know who I was anymore." Ryan's eyes widened. Her story felt familiar. like hearing his own pain in another voice. "Felt the same," he said softly. "Not long ago." The woman turned to him. Her name was Amina. She had once been a writer, working for a magazine. She had big dreams and high hopes. But after the company shut down, nobody wanted to hire her. Slowly, her belief in herself faded. She stopped writing, stopped dreaming. "I tell people I'm figuring things out," she said. "But really, I'm just scared." Ryan looked at her kindly. "You're not alone. That fear, it's something I still feel sometimes." Amina leaned closer. "How did you keep going?" Ryan smiled gently. "Someone helped me. He gave me a notebook, and every time I failed, I wrote one lesson. Over time, those lessons became my strength." He flipped through the pages and showed her some. She read, "Be patient with your growth. You are not your past. Pain is a teacher." Her eyes became wet. These are beautiful," she whispered. "Simple, but true." Ryan said, "The world teaches us with pain, but it's up to us to turn that pain into power." Amina wiped her eyes. "I think I need to buy a new notebook." Ryan smiled wide. "Do it tonight. Page 1 should say, 'I am beginning again,' and..." That is brave. They talked for over an hour, two strangers connected by similar stories. Both had fallen, both had felt lost, but now both were choosing to rise. Before leaving, Amina asked, "Can we meet again? Not for help, just to remind each other that we're not alone." Ryan nodded. "Of course. Let's help each other grow." As she walked away, Ryan sat alone again, but this time, he didn't feel alone at all. That night, Ryan visited Mr. Adil. He told him everything about the cafe, the stranger, and the notebook. Adil smiled proudly. "You see, Ryan? You're already passing the light forward." Ryan sat beside him. "She reminded me of, well, me." Adil nodded. "Many people are carrying silent pain, but few are brave enough to speak it. Fewer are brave enough to help others through it." Ryan looked at the stars. "Maybe that's the real success," Adil replied. "It is." Then Ryan took out his notebook and wrote, "Lesson 12, when you rise." 2 months had passed again. Ryan was no longer the same person who once felt lost, broken, and confused. He had no fancy title. He didn't own a business or drive an expensive car, but he had something far more valuable now: peace, purpose, growth. He had learned to accept life as it came, good and bad, and still move forward with strength. Every day he kept writing in his notebook. Every small failure became a lesson. Every small victory became a reminder that he was on the right path. One morning, Ryan got a message. It was from a woman named Zara. She worked at a new startup company. She had heard about Ryan from Amina, the girl he had met in the cafe weeks ago. "She said you were the kind of person who turns pain into purpose," Zara wrote. "We're looking for someone like that. Are you free to talk?" Ryan felt his heart beat faster. He smiled. This time, he wasn't nervous. He wasn't desperate. He was ready. 2 days later, he went to the startup's office. It was small but full of life. The people there worked hard but also laughed together. It reminded him of what success should feel like. Not pressure, but purpose. Zara welcomed him warmly. "I read some of your lessons," she said, handing him a printed sheet. "You really write from the heart." Ryan nodded, a little surprised. "You read my notebook?" Amina shared a few pages. "We've even started something similar here. We call it the Wall of Lessons." She pointed to the wall beside them. On it were dozens of short quotes written on colorful cards. "Failure is not the end. Kindness builds strong teams. Stay patient. Stay kind." Ryan walked closer and saw one that made him stop. Lesson 11. The voice of doubt is loudest before the next level begins. It was his. Zara smiled. You helped more people than you know, Ryan. He turned to her, deeply moved. Thank you. I didn't expect this. You didn't expect it, she said kindly. But you earned it. Zara offered him a role at the startup, a position in team development. It wasn't just a job. It was a place where his story, his lessons, and his attitude could help build a strong culture. Ryan said yes, not because he needed the job, but because this time, he belonged there. That evening, Ryan visited Mr. Adil one last time. The old man was sitting quietly in the garden as always. Ryan sat beside him and held out his notebook. I think I've found my path, he said softly. Adil smiled, his eyes kind. I never doubted you. I still feel afraid sometimes, Ryan admitted. Adil nodded. Good, that means you still care. But now, you know how to walk even with fear in your heart. Ryan opened the notebook and flipped to the final page. He had saved one page for the most important lesson. He took his pen and wrote slowly. Lesson 14. Success doesn't come from luck. It comes from how you think, how you grow, and how you help others rise. He looked at Adil. I want to teach others one day, Ryan said. Like you taught me. Adil looked into his eyes. Then your journey has truly begun. 1 year later, Ryan stood on a small stage. Around 50 young people sat in front of him. Students, workers, dreamers. He was leading a free workshop called Lessons That Changed My Life. He held up his old notebook and said, I want to tell you a story about a man who had nothing, no job, no confidence, no direction. That man was me. He told them everything, the struggles, the fear, the wooden box, the stranger in the cafe, the voice of doubt, and the notebook that saved his life. You don't need perfect grades or perfect skills, Ryan told them. You just need the right mindset. That's where true success begins. One boy raised his hand. What if we're still failing? Ryan smiled. Then you haven't failed. You're still learning. And every lesson brings you closer to the life you want. After the workshop, many people came up to shake his hand. Some even asked for help starting their own lesson notebooks. Ryan went home that night with a full heart. He sat by the window, looked at the stars, and opened a new notebook. Page 1, Lesson 1. The best way to grow is to give. He closed the notebook and whispered, Thank you, Mr. Adil. He looked out into the night sky and smiled, because now he was the light for someone else, and that was the greatest success of all.